Now, the 11th of August is a day where Zimbabwe celebrates its liberation war heroes for the sacrifices they made in liberating Zimbabwe from British colonial rule. It's a day where both the living as well as the past liberation war heroes get to be remembered for their commitment in liberating this very country. And as Zimbabwe celebrates 46 years of independence, questions linger around the significance of this particular day and what it means for the future. On this special conversation, we speak to the ZANU-PF Secretary for War Veterans, ex-political prisoners, detainees and restrictees League, Comrade Douglas Kufakunesu Mahiya, at the ZANU-PF headquarters in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare. Sir, how are you doing?
Fine, how are you doing?
Very well. Thank you for receiving us.
Thank you, madam.
Comrade Mahiya, to cut to the chase, Heroes Day is a time when Zimbabwe reflects on the sacrifices made during the liberation struggle. Now, the question is, in your view, what should this day mean to Zimbabweans?
Underlined sacrifice. Let's get to sacrifice and see where sacrifice was made and attained to power. Abraham had a son. God spoke to Abraham that you take your own son and sacrifice, because Abraham believed in God. Later the Bible says he was a friend of God because he accepted offering his child to God. But later on, as he proceeded to try and sacrifice his son, he was stopped and was told to look around the bushes, and he saw a lamb, and then later on sacrifice that lamb. So I liken the war veterans, those dead and alive, to Isaac, who, with all the discipline, with all the respect of his father, lied on the stones of sacrifice, the wood that was under him, until his father released him with command from God. So I liken the war veterans to Isaac, disciplined, committed, loyal, respectful to the people of Zimbabwe, to accept losing life for the people. And that loss of life, the shedding of blood, actually means whatever is going to be carried out under that as a principle is not a mere agreement. It is a covenant. So the war veterans had a covenant with the people of Zimbabwe, respecting their own people, loyal to their own people, disciplined to their own people, and some of them died. We were lucky to be alive. But this is where the power of the party ZANU-PF, because the ZANU-PF is the people. So the people of Zimbabwe have got the power from sacrifice. It is out of a divine covenant with God, because they sacrificed their own children in order to get the political power that the party today, ZANU-PF, has, and has created a government led by Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa as president and first secretary of the party ZANU-PF.
Right. The War Veterans League is one of the custodians of Zimbabwe's liberation history. Now the question then becomes, how is the League working to ensure that the stories as well as values of the liberation struggle are preserved for the future generations?
Sure. It's all about socio-economic development. Against that principle, the war veterans lead, and they will lead in that fight, in that the president of the Republic of Zimbabwe and the first secretary, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, when he then instructed the party to accept the war veterans as a wing of the party, it was a way of politically empowering the war veterans to be able to ensure that that political power is then turned into an economic powerhouse for the war veterans. So today, we are proud to be part of ZANU-PF. We are an integral part of ZANU-PF. So we speak from within, unlike the period before the new dispensation, we were speaking from without. But today we speak, and the president hears the opinions of the war veterans, the desires of the war veterans. And in that vein, the president has advised and approved the creation of a War Veterans Family Wealth Trust. A War Veterans Family Wealth Trust is the equal of the Royal Charter. When the Pioneer Column ended Mashonaland, they had been promised quite a lot of things, but they did not get that. So the British had to raise a document upon which the settlers would get capital for investment in mining, in agriculture. And so the War Veterans Family Wealth Trust is the same document, equipped with land that the war veterans fought for. We get the land wherever it is, to give to the trust. So the trust will become the collateral for the war veteran to be able to borrow against it. Because today, all war veterans cannot afford the collateral that is being demanded by the financial institutions. So when that collateral is there, the war veteran will then have to have his own trust registered with the War Veterans Family Wealth Trust, where he has got the capacity now to borrow. In other words, the War Veterans League has managed to economically restore the financial dignity of the war veteran and the capacity to be able to join the nation in economic development. So war veterans, our dream is we will need to have land, as much land as we can, maybe up to about 4.5 billion worth of land, pieces of land around here and there. Then it becomes a collateral for war veterans. So all war veterans will be able to at least have a loan from the bank to the tune. That's our dream. That's what we think. To the tune of, say, 1.2, 1.5 million. He borrows against that to establish his own enterprise. In that way, we will have turned the war veteran from being a mere political soldier to become an economic soldier and be able to contribute towards the president's economic thrust of leaving no one and no place behind. So all veterans this is the way the war veterans have been taken on board. So this is what the league is doing. So we are busy as we speak to distribute the forms necessary, the documentation necessary for all veterans to be able to submit their individual trust and operationalize the trust, the borrowing aspect. Then the process starts. Everyone starts doing so. Once that has happened, we have also reduced the burden of just the dependency syndrome. We remove that from the war veterans because he will be able to be doing his own thing. I am confident that then, therefore, at that juncture, the war veterans will be able even to look after his health. But as we speak, we have this threat of life and the ever-rising number of war veterans dying because of poor health facilities, poor healthy attention from government. But we want to do it ourselves, and this is the plan.
Right. As the nation commemorates Heroes Day, what message would you like to share with Zimbabweans on the importance of patriotism, national unity, and safeguarding the country's independence?
Mu Zimbabwe muno amuna munhu asina mutupo. Munhu wese ane mutupo. But mutupo wemunhu wega wega has something to do with that particular family, see, reputation or history, and they give value to that. That's why vaira gumbo vachiyera gumbo, vaira soko vachiyera soko, vane twakaitika pavari. Vanhu vemuZimbabwe vanofanira kuziva by now that more veteran akafa is now a spirit. And the people needed to respect that. Because when Jesus died finally, it was from that land. And today everybody else respects Jesus for the sacrifice that he has done to the people. That's where he got the power to heal, the power for miracles, the power for everything else. And the people of Zimbabwe, if they were to take the war veterans and the Heroes' Day in this way, they will be able to achieve much because it will be coming from the power. So the unity and the understanding of this as a political matrix, it enables people of Zimbabwe to be more powerful and prosperous as they proceed, because they are giving value to the blood. They are giving the blood that brings about power. You will never be powerful if you don't take the value of a covenant, the value of the principles of the revolution. It has to be accepted by everybody across the political divide. Let it not matter what political party you belong, but you still have rudzi rwenyu rumwe rune mumwe akafira kuMozambique ropa rikadeuka. That's a sacrifice, and not respecting that is should be an abomination, because uri kuramba zvakafira vanhu verudzi rwako, and vanhu verudzi rwako vakafa because vakagara pasi nevamwe. So it is about unity, it is about sacrifice, it is about where power is derived from. So nobody should ever be where does ZANU-PF get its authority to rule? It gets its authority from the blood. It gets its authority from the discipline. It gets its authority from its commitment, loyalty, and perseverance. All those things. That's where ZANU-PF gets it from. And no other political party in this country has ever demonstrated the need to have that power. So people during the period in question must remember that. They must know about that and respect war veterans. War veterans must be respected. War veterans must be honored. War veterans must be recognized. And that is what the Constitution says. And once that has happened, the people of Zimbabwe together vakatarisana nekuti takarwa hondo yechimurenga vese, nokuti hakuna rudzi rusina kuenda kuhondo yechimurenga. You can be MDC, you can be whatever other name of the political party, but everyone else has lost somebody else, and the value of blood inofana kutorwa na everyone else, and continue respecting the war veterans and recognizing the principles of the revolution and the struggle that we have against our erstwhile enemies who would want to see Zimbabwe losing the revolutionary trajectory that it started 45 years ago.
ZANU-PF Secretary for War Veterans, ex-political prisoners, detainees, and restrictees League, Comrade Douglas Kofakuneso Mahiya. Sir, thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.